Hello, good morning, and welcome back or welcome to Morning Ray. I'm Lan or Alana, and today's episode is a really exciting conversation with Liz Plosser. She is an advisor at Kion Aminos. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, then you would know that we had Angelo Keeley on almost about a year ago to speak about Kion. He is the founder, and Liz is a pretty incredible human. She is the editor-in-chief. She was the editor-in-chief of Women's Health. She has been on podcasts such as Jay Shetty, Dr. Gabrielle Lyons, Hurdle with Emily Abate, and a ton more. She has an incredible story surrounding nutrition and her protein journey that she has been on for years now. She's 46 and a total powerhouse. And you guys know I'm very selective about who I bring on the show, who I allow for you to hear. And we had such an incredible conversation surrounding women's health, protein, amino acids, creatine, whether or not you should be taking it. I feel like there's so much discourse around creatine right now and so many studies coming out about creatine gummies and whatnot. So I'm excited for you guys to hear the conversation I had with Liz. We recorded it a few weeks back, so I'm really excited for you to get to hear this now. And if you're watching this episode on YouTube, just know I'm so proud of my new skill development. I have learned how to edit recorded interviews with two different cameras and have it go back and forth between me and Liz. So if you are watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. If you're listening, thank you for listening. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I know I kind of dropped a bomb on you last week by just casually mentioning that I have a boyfriend and kind of hard launching in a way that way. Thank you so much for all the love and kind words. I will share as I figure out and navigate what I want to share, how much I want to share, how I want to share it. I do want to keep that part of my life quite personal and private, but not a secret. So I'm sure I will continue to mention him here and there, maybe glimpses of him on social media. We'll see where I go with that. But you know, what people don't know, they can't ruin, they can't put an evil eye on it. And that's kind of my philosophy with life. And as I've gotten older, I kind of share a little bit less while still sharing lots with you guys. So really appreciate all the love. You guys know everything pretty much that I've been through and where my head has been at with dating and whatnot. So you're really like my sisters, my best friends. And I hope you enjoy this episode. We'll discuss a little bit of current faves. I recently got my nails done. If you are watching on YouTube, then you can see I got this dark maroony cherry cola color, if you will. It's literally called Cherry Mocha by D&D. 3 coats, stunning. Also got it on my toes, which normally I do Let's Be Friends or Alpine Snow. So really big switch up with that. I have also been loving using the Great Skin Serum from Merit. It's absolutely beautiful. Been obsessed with the G Beauty primer. I feel like it makes my skin look so flawless when I put it on. I'm back in my flower buying era, so I bought another bouquet of roses and they're so pretty. I'm looking at them right now. They're this blush pink color. Love just having fresh flowers in the space. It feels so homey and feminine and beautiful. What else? I'm on week 2 of training for High Rocks. That has been going well. I've been doing 1 run a week, doing some boxing, doing some weightlifting, doing a High Rocks class, Pilates, all the good things. And I feel like those are my current faves, but I will bring Liz on for you now. Okay, so I'm here with Liz. Liz, welcome to Morning Ray.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you. I always love to ask, who are you, where are you from, and what is your zodiac sign, to just make a little fun icebreaker.
Love it. My name is Liz Plosser. I can give you the long or short version. I'll just say I'm a health journalist and wellness enthusiast. We'll leave it at that for now. I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, but currently for many years have lived in Brooklyn, New York. And I am an Aries with a lot of fire.
Oh my God, we're going to get along great. I'm a Leo.
Love. Oh, I'm a Leo rising and setting. So
Yes, I have a lot of Aries friends. I feel like Leos and Aries usually attract each other. Do you feel like you have a lot of Leo friends?
I do. And I think, yes, the Leo and Aries energy, it goes well together. It can be a lot, but in a good way.
Oh yeah, but in a good way. It's fun. Especially like female like Aries and Leo. I feel like it's a vibe.
Totally.
Okay, so I would love to know when did you get into health and fitness and nutrition? I feel like everyone kind of has their story. There's like this turning point in their life, or maybe it was something you grew up on, your parents instilled it in you. So, was there like a specific moment in your life where you're like, I want to take more action and be more proactive with my health, with my fitness, with my nutrition? Was it one thing first and then it led to the others? Like, what's your story, Liz?
Cool. So my sort of journey with health, fitness, nutrition actually began as a kid because I was very sporty and loved being on soccer fields and tennis courts and basketball courts. So I would say like movement and fitness have always just been like part of my DNA. I can't imagine a day without moving. That would be a day nobody wants to be around me, to be honest. um, and although I didn't have things super locked up, I could tell from an early age that when I slept well or had a nutritious dinner, that like things would just go better the next morning at practice or in a game. So I was aware of that connection from a very young age. And then I think like the next inflection point was in my early 20s. My first job out of college was, I don't tell this story very often, but I was an investment banking analyst. So I was in the finance space. I know.
Brought you to New York slash Brooklyn?
What's that?
That what brought you to New York?
Yes, I went to college on the East Coast. I went to Princeton, and all of my friends were moving to New York City, and that was sort of like my ticket here. It was how I was going to be able to rent an apartment, and you get like a signing bonus and all these things that made setting up a life here possible. Unfortunately, or actually fortunately, as I'll share, it was not my life's passion or where I was really meant to be, and it took a minute to be grateful for that, but I really am glad because at such a young age, I had this like visceral, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? This cannot be it. And so that really caused me to do some soul searching and talking to anybody and everybody who would chat with me. And it actually inspired me to sign up for my first marathon because I was just looking for something that would sort of fill me up and light me up outside of what I was getting up and going to work for every day. And it was through these long training runs in Central Park and meeting people from all over the city and sort of expressing out loud how I was feeling about work that I was really encouraged and sort of learned like, oh, I've always loved health and fitness and nutrition. It turns out you can make a living doing those things. So that really was a turning point because I then tried to get into journalism and magazines, which actually makes perfect sense because I'd been like the editor in chief of my high school newspaper and an English major. Like it all in retrospect was sitting right in front of me. It had like not occurred to me that you could go do something really fun that you're excited about for work. That's a story for another day or maybe a therapy session. But at any rate, I'm really lucky, and it took a lot of work, but I was able to transition into media. And my first job in the space was as an editorial assistant at Self Magazine. So that it was a scary leap to make and a massive pay cut, even at a young age. But like from day one, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. I just love it. Like getting to talk to experts and read studies and go to events where I was learning about product launches and new things every day. It was so fun. So I've been doing that for more than 20 years. I would say, and maybe we can get into this, but I had sort of my own personal inflection points with how I leveled up my personal approach to well-being along the way, particularly after turning 40. But yeah, just recently, just earlier this year, I stepped out on my own, and I'm doing my own thing still with my health journalism, eye and lens and passion, but now for myself.
Wow. And how did that feel to like take the leap of faith and like go off on your own? I know I did that a few years ago. I used to work in marketing for a lot of lifestyle agencies, and I would do like content and all my own stuff on the side, but I was never really sure about taking the leap and making it a full-time thing. And now here I am, almost 4 years later, still working for myself, and it can be scary and intimidating and isn't for everyone. Do you feel still super confident in that decision, or do you still sometimes struggle with like imposter syndrome or having doubts, being like, am I crazy? Should I have stuck with what I was doing before?
Oh, you just described many of the emotions that I personally have gone through too. And honestly, it's so encouraging and inspiring women like you, getting to talk to women like you who've made it work. I think I'm still early days because it's only been 7 months, but I would say I have over those 7 months gotten my sea legs. I was like full on terrified in January, like not panic attack terrified, but there was a lot of anxiety swirling around in my heart, which I think you could probably relate to. And it's not that I don't ever have those moments these days, but I think just like time and experience and showing up and like getting through things that I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And then you do, and it turns out okay or awesome. And you're like, okay, that just like every one of those gives you more confidence. I am quite sure I don't want to go back to legacy media. I loved it. I had an amazing teams over the years, and I learned so much, and I'm so glad I did it. But I feel so lucky that I can take all of that knowledge and all of those experiences and now use them for like the business of Liz and reaching women and making an impact in new ways. So I feel fully confident in that decision. But I think you're right. I think there's still a balance. Like, the way I pay the bills is sort of puzzling together all sorts of different projects. And the hardest part is carving out time for the business of Liz again and like what I want to build and work on. So yeah, to be continued. It's a journey.
You quit like your 9 to 5 to work for yourself, thinking you'll have like more flexibility in your schedule, which like in some ways you do, but then you end up working 24/7 essentially because your brain never shuts off. You think of a new idea and you want to jump on it. And there's like, again, like there's so many different facets and areas you could go down and different ways to connect with people or impact people, different ways to make money for yourself, to grow your business, to scale it. It's like really, I think like you're going to go on this whole journey and you're going to look back to these beginning months and you're going to be like, oh my God, like I've come so far. I've overcome so many things. And like, you would never have known unless you have taken that leap of faith, right?
I could not agree more. And yes, I was just sharing with you right before we started recording, like I was just in Colorado for an extended period of time while my kids were at sleepaway camp. That's so amazing that I can literally work from anywhere. But yeah. I'm also working from everywhere at all times.
Yeah. And it's like, when can you learn to shut it off when you're on that vacation and not feel guilty about it? Because like, I feel that way sometimes. Like last week was my birthday and I decided to like take a bit time off work. Like I was still working, but just not as much. And like, now I'm like sitting here this week, I'm like, I probably shouldn't have done that because now I feel behind in things. But at the same time, like I need to be present and enjoy my life, and time is fleeting. And I think like also in the field that we work in, like it's so important to be grounded and to be present and to give yourself grace. And work-life balance is so important. Like as much as like your career is important, like you need to find that downtime, that family time, that you time. So Liz, I would love to ask you, How do you support your lifestyle in terms of like your diet, your supplements, nutrition, all of that fun stuff? Because I think like a lot of us get caught up in the workouts or the more aesthetic and vanity standpoints of things, or the movement that we're doing, as opposed to like how are we fueling and supporting our body? So is there a moment in time where you started to pivot and care about this more? Is there something that was kind of groundbreaking for you? What are ways you prioritize your diet and supporting your lifestyle?
So I am a human who grew up in the 80s. I'm 46 years old, which means if your listeners are younger or older or just need a refresh.
We're kind of all over.
This was the era of counting calories and, low fat everything. And so even throughout my career in my 20s and 30s, even as I was reporting nutrition stories and assigning them and editing them at all these different brands I worked at, I knew how important protein was, but I never had really examined my own diet and nutrition and like gotten clear on how much am I having and am I having enough. I thought it was enough to like eat healthy, like I love salad. I love vegetables. I'm not vegan or vegetarian, so there were no really restrictions. I was just trying to be healthy and think about portion sizes and things like that. And for me, this sort of dovetailed with an injury, a sports injury I had. I broke my sacrum while I was skiing. It was a really bad skiing accident. And I used to be a big, big runner, and I couldn't run anymore as I was recovering from that. And I'd always strength trained in the background, but as I was cleared to exercise more, my physical therapist and doctor were like, focus on your strength training, lock up your form. And so I was doing that, and that's when I started pushing myself to lift heavier at the gym because I needed to get those endorphins, and so I had to pick up heavier weights. And as that was happening, I started researching this more, and like you're on social media, we all are, this was a few years ago when it was just the whispers of conversations were starting around like, well, if you're, stimulating your muscles like that, you've got to feed yourself protein to keep up with it. So thus began as I have dubbed it, personal protein journey, where I got really, really interested in all the science and the latest research. And finally, for the first time, looked at my own diet and was like, how much protein am I having on a given day? And I was not having nearly enough. I was having like 40 or 50 grams a day. And for somebody of my age and my activity level and my size, I needed at least 100 grams a day. So that was kind of the beginning. I started reading nutrition labels. For a couple of weeks, I started like weighing portions of, fish or chicken or whatever, and figuring out how many proteins were in there. Then I think the more you learn, and as you start to feel better, as I did, I was like, oh gosh, I have more energy at the gym and I'm sleeping more soundly. And like, yes, also aesthetic changes were happening, which I'll admit was motivating, but mostly it was just, I felt so good inside and out. So that sort of took me down new rabbit holes, including supplements, which is when I learned about creatine and also essential amino acids. I'm not a huge supplement person. I don't have like a medicine cabinet full of them. I also use protein powder. When I'm on it, I remember to take my omega-3s. I'm curious about colostrum, which my husband just put in my smoothie this morning.
It's changed my life.
Did it?
Colostrum.
Okay.
Yeah, I find more so for like immunity is like what I use it mostly for. If I'm consistent with taking colostrum, I won't get sick. Like,
that's awesome.
Like if my friends like have had the flu around me or like any sort of like nasty cold or virus that's going around, like, or even like if my partner kisses me and he's sick, like I won't get sick because I've been taking colostrum, and I'm like, I'm superhuman. Like
that is your ringing
won't
endorsement.
get sick. Yeah. Like I increase if I start to feel any sort of symptoms, like my nose is starting to get a little congested or my throat's getting a little sore. Usually it's my throat that like gets a bit sore before I get sick.
Me too.
If I like increase how much colostrum I'm having along with like vitamin D, zinc, B propolis, like I have my whole like holistic cabinet, but colostrum, I've seen such a difference, and it also helps with your hair, your skin, your gut. Like there's so many amazing things. I think they call it like liquid gold. So
they do call it liquid gold, which is what I used to call breast milk when I was nursing my kids.
Well, it is essentially breast milk, it's like the early breast milk.
There's in New York, this is the thing right now. There's a couple brands that teamed up and are making a breast milk ice cream. Have you heard about this?
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. And really what it is it's rich in colostrum. So there you go.
I wonder, have you tried it?
Gold, I guess. Well, I'm so glad that we went down that path, because it's something I've really been wanting to do research on. And I write a Substack where I kind of go into these niche topics. So I definitely want to with that supplement. So stay tuned. Maybe I can come back on and talk about how it's impacted me. But really creatine and essential amino acids, and then supplementing with protein powder, like in smoothies. I stir it into my oatmeal in the morning, or sometimes with Greek yogurt and berries.
Yeah, I do that too.
Those are kind of the three that for the last 3 years I've religiously taken every day.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there's a type of protein powder you kind of lean more towards, either in preference of taste, how it makes you feel, the results you have felt from it?
Yeah, I've tried all sorts of them. I think, putting on my science journalist hat, I would say for anyone looking at protein powders, like the number one thing is, first of all, to make sure that they're third-party tested. Mm-hmm. This space has just absolutely exploded, and everybody under the sun is making a protein powder now. But basically what a third-party testing means is that there's an objective, separate party that is looking at the blend and making sure that it doesn't contain contaminants like metals or toxins or mold.
I hear about like the heavy metals a lot in protein powders or supplements.
Yep. And yes, this is a thing in supplements too. So for any supplement, keep this in mind. And also that the ingredients that the brand says are on their label are actually what's in the formula itself. So for me, my go-to brand for all of my supplements is Kion, which is Kion. I've been using them for a few years for all the reasons I just said. And also all their stuff like tastes good. And
it's really good.
They're obsessed with the science, like literally obsessed, and really, really have invested in creating formulas that reflect the best leading science out there. And so from Kion, I take their whey protein. I personally like unflavored. We also have chocolate.
Oh my God, you're criminal unflavored.
What?
I said you're criminal for liking the unflavored. I feel like I always love like a vanilla. I mean, okay, I can see the appeal with the unflavored because you don't want it to impact the taste of, say, if you're putting in your oats or yogurt, but I like adding it for flavor. So I guess there's two types of people.
There's two types of people. I need to make a reel with you about this. You're so right. This is so true. Yeah, my husband, we were making smoothies this morning, and he's like, "You use the unflavored," and I'm like,
"See, okay, so me and your husband would get along. Your team lives all by yourself."
I'm putting in like protein powder and some frozen fruit. Like, why do we want to like muck it up with a flavor? So, yeah. You do you, but that's whey protein has the most muscle protein stimulus impact. So that, and I'm not vegan again or vegetarian, so it makes things pretty easy to be able to choose one.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that when you're looking at protein powders or any sort of like protein source, you want to look at the amino acid profile. Like it's important. I think if I'm remembering right, it has to have like all 9 amino acids. Is that right?
Yeah, 9? That's right. Yes, this is where I can geek out on the science. So this is the thing about whether it's protein powder or when you're eating protein from your food. We're all focused on protein and how many grams a day are you eating. And I even shared my personal story with that, which is great. But what a lot of people don't realize is the reason you're consuming the protein is actually because you want to get the amino acids, which are the building blocks of the protein, out of it. Yeah. Because then as your body digests the protein source, it's taking those amino acids and it's using it to do everything from, your protecting your lean muscle mass to helping your immune system, to your hormones, to your skin, your hair, like literally everything that happens in your body relies on those amino acids. So it really is super important. And I'm sort of aghast that I spent so many decades of my life not thinking about this. But to your point, there are 9 essential amino acids that your body has to get from an alternate source. It cannot create them on its own. So when we talk about an essential amino acid supplement or a protein powder or even your nutritional sources in your diet, particularly again for vegans and vegetarians, that's just what you want to really be aware of, that you're getting all 9 of those EAAs that you can't get any other way.
Would you say if someone is looking to step it up with like their diet, their supplements, if they were to pick between the Kion whey protein powder, or Kion also offers the amino acid supplement, would you say one over the other? Or do you think pairing them together? Like, what is your take on that? And like, why would you pick one over the other if it is that case?
I love the way you asked that. I'm not sure I've ever heard it put that way, but I think it's such a good question. So I will start with the disclaimer, which is I never suggest you only live on whey protein powder or essential amino acids. Like food, number
food
one.
First. It's a supplement.
Yeah, they are supplements. Food is good for us, not only for all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, which are so important, but also it's fun and it's a joy of life. So I in no way aspire to like live on supplements, nor should you. Having said that, if I could only take one supplement a day, I would take EAAs, hands down. So the EAAs are just going to be even more powerful than whey protein in delivering those amino acids into your bloodstream so your body can use them right away. And that's just because of the formula. It's a powder, or it can also come in capsule form. It immediately hits your system. Like your body doesn't have to do much of any digestive work on it. It's not pulling things apart, unlike a meal where even if you had like, a lean cut of fish, but you also had vegetables and a carb on the side, all good for you, by the way. But that's a lot for your body to then digest and pull the amino acids out of. Protein powder makes more of an impact than regular food. It's just the way it is. But it does have other additives in it. Aminos are literally like, we were talking about liquid gold for colostrum. It's like, what's better than gold? I don't know. Diamonds?
Diamonds? I don't know. I think platinum, but not really.
There's no faster, better way to deliver those amino acids into your body so they can start using them and make you healthier from the inside out.
Would you say the capsule or the powder is more effective?
So they've looked into this and they're equally effective. I get asked this a lot. If you prefer to do capsule, there's no problem. I actually really enjoy the powder. There's 4 different flavors: watermelon, mango, mixed berry, and lemon lime. I go through I used to say watermelon was my favorite, but
that's what I was taking.
I go through phases where sometimes I'm more in a lemon lime mood, or the berry hits the spot sometimes. I just to like share a funny story. I was, as I mentioned, recently in Colorado while my kids were at sleepaway camp. My husband and I were there. My in-laws were also there. We were staying at their cabin. And I've gotten my in-laws on aminos. My husband also takes them every day.
I got my dad on them.
Yeah, exactly. My mom and dad who live in KC are on them, all of them. So I thought we had a bunch there because I had been there skiing over the winter and usually like leave a couple tubs so that I'm set. And between all of us going through them, we were like crushing these tubs of aminos. So we were like at the
so you're slamming it back like coolers.
Right. we're at the very end of the trip and we ran out. Like we were at the end. And so my husband, when he went into town, like found a health food store and was looking around. I'm not going to say what brand it is, but he couldn't find Kion. Kion, you order online. They arrive like a couple days after you order them. It's great. There just wasn't time to do that when we were leaving. So he grabbed some so that we could have some for the last couple of days. They were disgusting. Like, sorry.
Oh my God, no.
I'm not going to ding any specific brand.
Isn't it crazy like how like supplements and like the quality, even from just like quality standpoint in terms of like what value it actually provides to your body, and then quality in terms of like taste, texture, consistency, it ranges so much and you never really know what to get. Like I think one of the most asked questions I get asked on like my Instagram or TikTok is like for supplement recommendations, because there's also like so many like scammy ads saying like it's the best thing ever, and then you get in like you're like, this tastes like shit. Like I could not have this, and I'm not going to be consistent with it, because consistency is key with any sort of supplement. Otherwise you're not going to see or feel any benefits from it.
Listen, I believe in EAAs so much that I was like, I will choke these down because my body wants this supplement every day. But the other thing is I was looking at the label. And here's the deal. So many brands have proprietary blends where they don't show you exactly what's in them.
I wish that was illegal. Or like when they say like natural flavors, like what do you mean natural flavors?
It drives me crazy too. So that's another just like public service announcement to anybody listening or watching. Like you want a blend that owns what they're putting in there and gets it third party tested. When they say proprietary blend, what they're actually saying is it's a mystery and we're not going to tell you what's in our stuff. Like we just want your money. The other awesome thing about Kion, and if you've totally geeked out on PubMed and looked at all the science and research like I have, all the studies that have been done on essential amino acids, and they've been done on women, on men. There's been tons of them on older adults, because that is a demographic that needs protein / amino acids more than anybody, because our bodies become less and less efficient at taking the good stuff from protein and utilizing it as we get older. That's just a reality of aging. So the studies all enhance their amino acid blends that they're using with leucine, which is one of the essential amino acids. And that's just like key to a blend. And if again, I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody, but I feel like you need to know, because supplements are expensive.
They're so expensive.
Yeah. If your blend isn't like doing the nitty gritty work in the lab and making sure that they're hitting that leucine threshold, like you're throwing some money away. So be really careful about that.
Yeah. I feel like especially right now, there's so many new brands that are coming out and like they're super trendy looking and their marketing and branding is superb. And a lot of these brands do have very like scientific backed products, but there are also a lot of brands that they just have really good marketing and their product isn't great. And there's a lot of false reviews, and you really have to like go in, educate yourself, read the fine print, look into the ingredients, research this brand before purchasing, because products are expensive and like you don't want to just be throwing money aimlessly. And like also it can impact your health too. Like this is something you're consuming, and if you are taking it consistently and repetitively, like you don't want to be taking something that could have heavy metals in it, or be saying it's doing one thing for your body, but it's actually not doing anything at all, or it could have a negative implication on you.
I knew what you meant.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I just saw in the last few weeks, there was a group that tested some of the most popular creatine gummies that are sold on Amazon. Did you see this, Alana? And like,
no.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you after. You can drop in the show notes. But what they discovered is that many of them had like trace to zero creatine in them. So, again,
Good.
we got it. And I'm like, I'm not even
So it's just a gummy.
Yeah, you're just having like a sugar gummy. And I'm not surprised because that's the world we live in, but it's just yet another reminder to like really be thoughtful. And, it's important to have standards when it comes to these supplements that you're putting in your body every day.
Yeah. So my next question for you, Liz, is a lot of my audience is between the ages 18 to 34. I would say predominantly are females in their 20s. And I know as we get older, it's really important to strength train and to support our diet with protein and EAAs. Do you think encouraging these young girls to start taking EAAs, incorporating more protein into their diet through whole foods, supplementing with protein powder where appropriate now, will prolong their body's like muscle percentage and how they age and their ability to be mobile and active as they get older?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to talk about and one of the missions I'm on, because there's such an opportunity for people in the age groups you just described, the youngins out there. It's like the perfect time to start making these habits and to set yourself up for success. I mean, when it comes to the fitness and muscle stuff, first of all, there's really cool research about how, and I am not a PhD and I'm going to bungle this, but essentially your body hangs on. There's like true muscle memory. Like you change your body when you start a lifting program. So once you start stimulating your muscles through weight training, that's something you hang on to forever. So that even if you get injured or sick or take a break for vacation or a crazy spell in your life, when you come back to lifting, your body responds that much more quickly. Yeah. Like you've built that. So that's awesome. Like, please start thinking about that now to set yourself up for success later. I wish I had been prioritizing protein, and I wish I knew about EAAs and was taking them from a younger age. I think as an athlete and somebody who was into marathons, and I got really into triathlons for a while, there's tons of cool research about how it can impact your performance, and, reduce fatigue, help you go harder for longer. Like there's real sport benefits to taking it at any age.
Because doesn't it also help with recovery as well? Like especially if you're training very intensively?
Yes, it helps with recovery as well. So I'll just speak from my personal experience. And again, there is research on this, but once I started taking EAAs every day, I could tell even on my toughest lift days, like I love to deadlift once a week. That's my all-time favorite lift.
Oh, I love deadlifts, except my grip strength sucks.
Yeah.
So I have to use the straps. And even then I'm like, I can lift heavier, but my hands won't let me hold it.
Yes, I need to lift straps. I think it would be interesting to see what could happen there. Do you use the split grip, one under, one over?
I haven't deadlifted it in a minute, but it depends. Like when I was training with my trainer, he didn't like me doing that. He said it was like cheating.
Yeah.
So I wasn't allowed.
I've heard that too. Well, I cheat. I have a friend who's an excellent trainer who's always like, try and go longer before you split your grip. Okay, Alana, when you next come through New York, we are going deadlifting together.
Yeah, okay.
Or when I come through Toronto, we'll do it. At any rate, that's the lift that normally knocks me out. Like I would feel sore for a couple of days.
Once I started the hamstrings.
Seriously, the next morning I'd wake up and I'd be like, what's going on? Why am I not sore? Like I just PR'd yesterday. And when I'm talking about my deadlifts, I'm lifting like 250 to 275.
Okay, pop off, Liz.
Sorry, had to flex there.
As you should.
So that is me sharing my experience as a 46-year-old woman. When you're 18, when you're 25, when you're 35, you're just like a sprightlier, you've got, your body is different, your body responds differently. So if you can lock up your diet with the protein and add the EAAs, you're just like that much further ahead. Now, I will be totally honest. When you're in your 20s, your body is really good at getting EAAs from dietary sources of protein. We were talking about this a minute ago, but it's every decade older you get, we become more anabolic, which means it's harder to protect our lean muscle mass or to build muscle, which is a direct result of how it's harder to get the essential amino acids out of protein sources. So I would argue that it becomes ever more important every year older you are, but it certainly could be a benefit to anybody at any point in their lives. And although my kids don't do it, if they asked for a glass of EAAs with water, I would 100% give it to them. I've talked to my doctor about it. He said it's fine.
Is it possible to have too much EAAs?
I've looked into that. We are really cut from the same cloth. So they've never tested it to the point that anybody became sick or had a negative consequence, which is great. But scientists have looked at EAAs up to having 19 servings in one 24-hour period.
That's insane.
A lot of scoops, because you have them.
Yeah.
I think the most I ever have in a day is 6, and most days I'm having more like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Really, my goal is just have it once in the morning, and everything else is like icing on the cake. So absolutely no problems or consequences or bad effects up to 19, but they just haven't researched it beyond that.
Okay. And another question.
Yeah.
When it comes to supplements, like what would you say are like your ride or die in terms of supporting like protein focus? So whether it's like creatine or protein powder, EAAs, I don't even know what else you could take. That's like kind of collagen. I guess you could also throw colostrum in there.
Yeah.
What would you say? Like if you could only have 3 for the rest or 2 or 3, I don't know. Let's make this a little more challenging. 2 or 3 for the rest of your life that are going to give you the best benefits and support your lifestyle and your body the best. What would they be and why? And how would you incorporate it into your routine?
Okay, cool.
I'm making
God, your questions are so fun. I love this. I love how you're gamifying it. Okay. If I can only have 2, I'm
Just
picking
2.
EAAs, no doubt. That's the one I would have every single day. So honestly, for all the reasons we've been saying for the last 20 minutes, it makes me more energetic. It promotes cellular energy. It boosts my immune system. It protects my lean muscle mass. It's activating protein synthesis throughout my body. Like, bar none, the best supplement out there. I don't know why more people aren't talking about it. Everyone's talking about creatine, which I'll get to in a second. I think it's changing. I think people are starting to wake up to this. How do I take it? I take the powdered form. Kion also makes the capsules, but I think the powder is tasty. I'm not going to say I like crave it, but it is, I find it like quite refreshing, and like I get not like a caffeine jolt of energy, but like a little bit of a.
It's also like good in the afternoon. I feel like you can either like instead of having a coffee, you can either go electrolytes or you could go Kion Aminos.
Bingo. Yeah. So I have it every single morning. I have a mug of coffee, and I also make a big glass of ice water, and I stir 1 scoop of my aminos in. I tend to hit the gym really early in the morning, so I make a giant bottle of ice water. I put in 2 more scoops of aminos, and I'm sipping it while I'm at the gym and finish it like on my walk home. And then, like you said, if I need it in the afternoon, if I'm hitting one of those like, I'm kind of dragging, I will make myself another glass of ice water with another scoop of aminos. I know a lot of people who also take one before bed because that's when we're fasting overnight. So that's actually a really great time. But for me, I would say definitely once a day in the morning, and then maybe 2 to 3 more times during the day. Just depends. Second supplement I would take, if I can only take 2, is creatine.
I thought you were going to say protein powder.
I do. It's a close second and third, but because I'm getting essential amino acids from my EAA supplement, it means protein powder is not as necessary because I'm covering my bases.
Valid point.
Activating protein synthesis every single day. I do love protein powder because it's as busy as we were talking about, starting this new life of building my own all sorts of things. I'm running around like a million miles a minute, and protein powder can just really help me, like when I don't have time to prepare a meal. For sure. But yeah, those are my three. And I get asked all the time on social media about collagen. I have so many thoughts,
well, it's not a complete protein source, right? Like you can't actually count it towards like your daily protein intake.
That is correct.
From what I've read.
People also ask me about BCAAs a lot, which were and are a very trendy supplement. Many supplement brands make them. BCAAs are the branched chain amino acids. People talk about collagen for skin and hair health, but you're right. It's a subset of the aminos. Listen, it's not going to hurt you, but there's been no evidence that in that little subset, they need the rest of the amino acids. They're like the building blocks that have to all be put together in order to do what they're going to do. So, I actually just saw a new study about this, that collagen is not all it's cracked up to be. People get really charged about this stuff. So I'm trying to be tactful, because if it's part of your supplement stack and it's working for you, you're probably mad at me right now. But
well, I take it in conjunction with my protein powder, or I'll have it like from like a bone broth. Like I won't just
I love bone broth. Yeah.
So good. Especially like in the winter.
Yes.
There's Impact actually just opened in New York, but Impact is like this like health conscious. You should check it out. Cool. Health conscious, like kind of like healthy fast food place, and they have like a bone broth subscription that you can get. So if you like sit there and do like a lot of work, because like a lot of entrepreneurs will sit in their restaurants and do work all day, like they have a bone broth subscription and they offer a variety of different types. But it's so good. It's so good.
And I love like spicing it up with different herbs or like a little hot sauce. It's the best.
But, or even like using it to make soup or in cooking. But no, I don't ever just take a straight collagen supplement. It's always, if I'm making a smoothie, I throw it in with my protein powder, with my colostrum, but I wouldn't just like take it on its own kind of thing. Yeah,
I feel you. So I probably should expand my supplement stack. I could probably do with some vitamin D. And I recently had a DEXA scan, which looked really good, but my bone density wasn't as incredible as I thought it should be, given those deadlifts I was telling you about, which is due to some genetic stuff. So,
also climate.
The awesome thing about the space we're in, we're so lucky because we get to like research this and talk to the leading experts. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm a sponge just learning more every day. It's so fun.
I feel like also, I don't know if you get access to being like gifted or being sent a lot of like different supplements. Like it's cool that you kind of have access to, or at least like I know I do, like I get access to a lot of different supplements and all these like new trendy things, and I can get to try it without having to put money out of my own pocket and then see if it's actually worthwhile. Like if I actually like the product for how it tastes, how it acts, like if I actually see results without having to put a pretty penny to it, you know?
Yeah. So I don't know if we talked about this, but speaking of my career in journalism, most recently for the last 7 years, I was the editor-in-chief of Women's Health, the U.S.
Oh, so you probably got so many things or had like a supplement cupboard at work.
To the point that Matt, my husband, again, was like, you got to stop bringing this home, hon. You can't do this.
Oh, I literally have a whole closet over here of like all the products that I get sent for work. And whenever friends come over, I'm like, here's your goodie bag.
Yeah, these are like, journalist or influencer problems. But what's funny? It reminds me a lot of even like when I get sent fitness gear. You probably do as well.
Yeah.
Like no matter how much stuff you get, you try it and you're like, oh, it's so cute and I'm going to wear it, whatever. But like there is like a small pile of the stuff that I go back to over and over again. You could send me free stuff every day, but only like a very tiny fraction of them would actually make it into my regular wardrobe. And honestly, supplements are the same. And that's how I found Kion, was like, I get all of these things and then I do my research and I'm like, okay, are they third-party tested? Like, what is their formula? Like, let me look up the team. Who are the scientists they're working with? And let me taste it and let me see what it does in my body. And like, it's only a teeny tiny, number of them that actually make the cut and become part of my regular life. So, I think there are influencers and trainers and experts who will hawk stuff to you all day, and I understand why. They're trying to make a living, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty militant about only talking about the stuff that really works, that's tried and true.
No, I'm the same way. I literally I will turn down partnerships, gifting, anything if I don't feel it aligns with me 110%, because I don't want to work with a brand that I'm not aligned with. And two, having trust from the people that look up to me or look to me for advice is so important. And I would never want to risk ruining that or breaking that, which I think more people should have. But unfortunately, sometimes the bills do need to be paid and people need to do things, or we have different morals and values.
Yeah.
But before we close this off, I do want to talk about creatine a little bit more. If I'm remembering right, Kion does have a creatine powder. I've been seeing a lot of things about the benefit and the correlation between creatine and memory, and also I think preventing Alzheimer's, I think, as you get older, and like dementia and any disease with the brain. So I'd love to hear like your take on that and like why you like taking creatine, because you did mention it as being like one of your top 2 that you would take in conjunction with the EAA. So like, what is your reasoning for that? What research have you seen? What are the benefits that you are taking creatine for?
Cool. Okay. So creatine is different from EAAs, though I think some of the ways that it shows up physically in your body, they remind me of each other in the sense that it helps me recover faster. And although it's not a pre-workout, it doesn't have caffeine in it, or that's not the kind I take. I'm sure there are creatines out there.
I think there are some that have caffeine in it, but I would personally stay away from that.
I would too. Well, I get asked that a lot. Like, oh, is it going to make my hands tingly? And I'm like, not if you're taking pure creatine. That would be a different thing.
I hated that when I used to take pre-workout and I feel all tingly. I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah, I'm not into it either. I really wanted to like it. I really wanted to, but it did not make me feel good.
No, people get like obsessed with it, like borderline addicted. Like they can't go to the gym. Like they correlate going to the gym with taking their pre-work, and they can't go until it kicks in. And
yeah, the tingly is pins and needles for me is how it feels. It's very uncomfortable, and I don't enjoy it at all, personally. At any rate, so creatine it's basically, there's a complicated chemical process. It's drawing water into your cells, and it's allowing your cells to utilize ATP more efficiently, effectively. So in theory, and this has shown up in my life, you will have more energy, you'll have more oomph to give to your workouts. You should notice a difference. Now, it takes at least 2 weeks to build up in your system. The average dose is 5 grams, which is 1 scoop. Again, I take the Kion one. It's completely flavorless. It mixes in, it dissolves quickly.
Yeah.
You won't taste it if you stir it into water. So some people do what they call a preloading phase if they really want to get the impact more quickly. So they might start with 10 grams a day for the first week or so to build it up. So basically what happens is you're already getting creatine if you eat meat sources, if you eat meat products, they're rich in creatine. Your body is using it and then excretes what it can't use. If you get more in your body, you have more for your body to utilize. So that's that pre-phase where you're building it up in your body, is basically you're like topping off the tank. So you've always got some in there. So that's the idea of it. To your point about the research, people talk a lot. I think this was known as like a gym bro supplement for a very long time. Kind of like
a lot of women are like scared to take it, think it bloats them, makes them hold on to water weight.
And that is true. Some people will feel bloating because it is drawing water into your cells, but you tend to acclimate very quickly. For what it's worth, I did not notice bloating when I started it. I think it's, it just varies person to person, but it's unusual for it to last more than a couple of weeks. I know people are worried they're going to get bulky from it. Spoiler alert, you're not. Unless you start training like a bodybuilder, like you're just not. It's really hard to get bulky and to look like a bodybuilder. That takes a lot of effort. But what's been really cool, because I would say most of us are now very aware of like the muscle benefits, the gym benefits, the recovery benefits, is all these cool new studies that are coming out about the mental benefits.
Yeah.
So a caveat, these studies are smaller and there definitely needs to be more research, but they are showing a positive correlation into neuron health and lower rates of Alzheimer's and dementia. It's being used in older populations to help treat people who are navigating those conditions.
That's really cool.
It's like along with aminos, like the most studied supplement out there. Like, it is safe. It is not going to hurt you. And best case scenario, there are a ton of benefits, both for your muscles, but also for your brain, that you're going to get out of it.
Yeah. I heard that to receive the benefits for like mental cognition and all of that, like I think it was 10 milligrams a day was like the researched amount to actually seek those benefits. Did you see the same thing?
Yeah, I haven't looked at the studies for a minute. I did I'll send it to you, Alana. I did a really deep dive on my Substack about creatine. It like went viral because people are obsessed with learning more about it. And this was like 6 months ago when those studies were just starting to come out. And I do remember that now. Not
I think
only
it is
quite
10.
small, but the dose was quite high and not the like standard dose that most people take. The other cool study that's come out recently is when you are sleep deprived, like if you have a really bad night of sleep, to take a bigger dose of creatine.
I need that today.
Right? I know. I'm like, is it a problem if I feel that way every morning? I'm just kidding.
Your iron could be low.
I don't feel that way every morning, but we've all been there where you get to bed too late or you have a restless night. And so there's some research suggesting that it can help you through the next day feel less fatigued.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. But Liz, let's wrap it up. I always love to have our guests leave the listeners with either some words of wisdom, a quote, a resource, a book, whatever you've kind of been focusing a bit more on lately. So what would you say is your quote, your words of wisdom, maybe a resource or a book that you want to leave the listeners with? Okay,
cool. Well, my all-time favorite quote is, and I heard this in some fitness class, an instructor said it many years ago. And she said, let's make better mistakes tomorrow. And I feel that in this new chapter of mine, where I'm learning every single day and making mistakes every single day, that one resonates deeply with me, that it's not a failure to make a mistake. It's actually a way to learn, and that I get the opportunity to wake up tomorrow and do it even better. So hopefully that hits home for somebody out there watching. I know it's helped me on some tough days. And in terms of a resource, I would be thrilled if your listeners would check out my Substack. It's called Best Case Scenario. You can access it at lizplosser.substack.com, but I have written very lengthy features that are highly reported and investigated on creatine, essential amino acids, cold plunging, what happens to your body during sex, like literally anything I'm curious about in the wellness world. Nothing is taboo for me. And it's been so fun following my heart and just like getting deep on the things that I think are really interesting. And I hope to find some of your listeners and viewers there. Come say hi.
Yeah. I'll definitely put it in the show notes. And besides your Substack, where else can the listeners find you? Where can they find Kion? Just plug yourself out.
So I'm on social media where I overshare. And
don't we all?
Instagram, right? Instagram is the best place to catch up with me. I love replying to comments and DMs. And my handle is Liz Plosser, LizPlosser. You can look me up on my website at lizplosser.com. And clearly you and I, Alana, are both obsessed with Kion. Yes. The website is Get Kion, GETKION. If you do /Liz Plosser, it actually has my favorites, like the things that I order that I talked about every day. And you don't have to put in a code, but it's 20% off if you want to check out my stuff.
Okay, amazing. And I'll put that all in the show notes for anyone that's listening or watching. But thank you so much for coming on Morning Ray, Liz. It was a pleasure to chat with you, to get to discuss everything and anything. And I always love just geeking out over health and wellness stuff. So it's fun to do that with someone who likes doing that too.
Same. I loved it. I'll see you on the other side.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening to our conversation, my conversation with Liz. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you are interested in trying out Kion, you can go to getkion.com/morningray for 20% off. That's getkion.com/morningray for 20% off your purchase. It will also be linked in the show notes. So if you need help with the spelling of any of that, you can definitely head over there. But thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Morning Ray. If you liked it, please leave a rating, comment, or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's how you can help support the pod. Make sure to share it with a friend who you think would have enjoyed the conversation or would enjoy the episode. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.